TGN Bangla.
According to the British Ministry of Defense, the bulk of Russia's forces are within 20 miles of Kyiv, but the Ukrainian army and air force are putting up a staunch resistance and inflicting greater casualties than the Kremlin anticipated. And our Pentagon team reports the U.S. is seeing indications that the Russians are growing increasingly frustrated by their lack of progress.
Courage of President Zelensky and his senior civilian leadership, never mind the Ukrainian military, which is putting up a fight. They have courage, they're calling up their reserves. People are taking part in militia defense units, all of which indicates a very strong stance by the Ukrainian against this massive Russian assault. We got to remind ourselves, this is day 4 coming up of the assault. The Russians have made no serious attempt yet to capture Kyiv, Kharkiv, or other major metropolitan areas. They're on the outskirts, but we're seeing a reconnaissance, GRU, Spetsnaz units trying to encircle and destabilize the capital. If the Russians go after Kyiv, and they probably don't want to, it could be a bloody mess and a terrible optics, world battalions at the same time. We haven't seen that. So let's be filled with admiration, but I'm most harmonic conductors being told they can't enter the United States, Norwegians telling them they won't be allowed to compete in ski events. So in 100 ways, the world community is telling Putin and his senior military leaders, you've made a dreadful mistake. So many other political, diplomatic, and economic lines of reaction going into the Russian people that it creates a new political calculus on the part of Putin and his senior people, or the generals come forward and saying, this isn't going to look good for us, and the oligarchs say, well, our money's being frozen. That's possible given the enormous courage of the Ukrainians, every bit of the population coming together on this, and surprisingly, to include the Russian-speaking areas who don't want to fall under Putin's domination.
I wonder
inside the Ukrainian government, but they've got to beat the Ukrainian army in the field, and they're setting about that, and they have not yet committed the substantial amount of their forces. We're watching uncamouflaged Russian military vehicles lined up bumper to bumper. They're not yet in combat. What's happening in the eastern part of Ukraine is what most interests me. That's where the bulk of the Ukrainian armed forces are. How are they doing? They're doing pretty well, apparently. We gave them these incredible Javelin missiles, anti-tank missiles. It's an hour to train somebody. It's a fire and forget missile. We've given them Stingers, and Germans are sending more in. So the Russians are losing helicopters, attack helicopters, and transports. So we'll see. They've got to just bloody the Russians.